What's up? I have a crazy fucking story right now. A crazy one that I've been saving for a long time. But it's crazy. And you're about to hear it. Finally, some good stories. Here we go. I was originally going to record this with my microphone, but I don't have the USB. So it's just going to be the video camera. And just like last time, I'm gonna be drinking some kava tea, but this time it's a special brew that has some other ingredients in there too. Plus I took one of these happy campers, one of those herbals that has some cool stuff in it. So I should be feeling pretty good for this trip report. What's up? I'm prepared to tell you the most epic story, one of the most epic stories that I could tell you. And it's true and it's crazy, and I could actually remember it pretty clearly, surprisingly, since I was pretty drunk. So, I'm just calling it the drunk adventure, whatever. I know everyone's had one in their life before. But this one is bad. This one's crazy. This one's dangerous. This one's gnarly. So I'm just going to tell it the best of my abilities that I can remember it. Okay. So I was going to my grandma's house. This was the same weekend that I got suspended from school for smoking weed in 2 of the bathrooms at school. And they caught me and they were like, I was like, how do you know? They're like, because you're the only person who went in both of those bathrooms. That's all we had to look for. We just watched you go from one bathroom to the other. So they checked my bag and they found a pipe. And I was like, I found this in the bathroom. I was going to give it to you guys. I was going to turn it in and like as evidence, but I had to get to class first. And they're like, bullshit. And they suspended me for a week. So I went out to my grandma's house, who lives way out in the country of Washington, in this town called Yakima. Way out there. Like, so far out in the country, up on the hills, that you can see, like, all of Yakima. Bless me! So, here's what happens, basically, is I'm, like, the weekend before, I had gone there with my friend, and we had drank, and then went out on their golf cart around the country at night, because I know their, like, property good enough to drive the golf cart at night. So I was going there alone, and I was equally, like, bored that night, and I was sad because I just got suspended and sad about some other stuff. So I found a bottle of gin in their basement, and I remember I just started drinking. I might have had a Four Loko or something too. Started drinking, and it started getting bad. I started calling my friends like that and my ex-girlfriends and just like trying to like talk to them and shit at the middle of the night. And it was like 3 a.m. and I called my friend Jose, and his parents like mainly speak Spanish, and I called them and I was like, "Hola." And they're like who the fuck is this, basically, like, but you could just tell they were mad, but I couldn't understand them, and I was like, ¿Dónde estás, Jose? And they're like, telling me, like, stop, go to bed, whatever, and I was like, ¿Dónde estás, Jose? No! Ándale, ¿dónde estás, Jose? And I remember he called me the next day laughing, telling me how I had called him drunk. So this is just the beginning. Everyone does that, but not everyone does this next part. So by myself, in the country of Yakima, like, it's so much the country that you walk outside, it's pitch dark in front of your face. Like, you're out in the wilderness, like, out in the weeds, like, farms all around you. Like, if you walk anywhere, like, you're gonna run into a barbed wire fence and cows and maybe even bulls or some shit. Because there's bulls, like, one property over. So, I rode a bull, just playing. And, what happens is I go on the golf cart with one of my grandparents' dogs. And they have the big dogs, like, big, tall dog, like, and it's like a reddish color, and I don't know why I can't remember the name right now. JD. It's named JD, and it's this big dog. So it's sitting in the seat next to me, just like right there next to me, like a homie. And I'm drunk out of my mind, like so much that like I was just willing to go drive that golf cart down the street like it was a car. And I have on my computer basically like a layout of where this all happened that I will show you after I tell the story. So I get on the golf cart and I get on the street and I start driving down the country street road, just like driving, just like beatboxing or singing songs, just like loud, obnoxious, but like no one's gonna hear me because we're out in the middle of nowhere. I have the dog next to me, so I'm driving, and the road ends, but it hits like this like dirt road that keeps going down someone's property. So I just keep going off like into some field. So it's in the middle of the dark black night. I'm going down this field alone, and finally I'm going down the field to go around the dirt road, and I hit a canal. Now most people, like, I hit it, I don't mean like I hit it, but like I stop at it. And when I say canal, most people think like canal, like that deep. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about one of the huge cement ones that kids skate down. That's not like a half pipe. It's like wall straight down, and then the flat at the bottom is almost straight down walls. Like you can't walk up them. And I swear to you, it's taller than 10 feet easily. It's gotta be 15 or 20 feet high. Tall cement walls, and then this ground like that's flat. And there was like a foot of water in some spots, but the water wasn't going. This is one of those canals that runs across like miles of the city. Like it's huge. It's not like just a little dirt canal. Like if you crashed your car into it, you'd be fucked. It's bad. Like you wouldn't want to try to get in there, like, cause you couldn't get back out unless you had the ladder. So you probably have that vision in your head now. So I turn left, start going like south, down more into the country along the canal. So I'm just driving along the canal in the middle of the night, singing, beatboxing, whatever. The dog's right there with me. And this next part is crazy and hilarious, and I was too drunk. What I forgot to mention was that it's literally during the winter and there's snow on the ground, and I was in a hoodie with no shirt underneath, a pair of like basketball shorts, and flip-flop like slippers, like my grandma's like fuzzy slippers with no socks on, just in the country, like, yeah, because I couldn't feel the cold or anything, and I didn't give a fuck, and the dog was right there. So imagine driving down a golf cart in the middle of the night through the country that you don't know, drunk, like in the flip-flop slippers. So that's all good and well, but the next part is what's bad, and why I probably should have been in better attire. And you can probably guess what happened next. I'm driving like right along the canal, driving. And out of nowhere, suddenly I just hear like a and I feel this, and suddenly I'm rolling down the wall of the canal. Like I feel gravity, and I'm just tumbling down the wall. And what happened was, luckily, I fell out of the golf cart, and the golf cart was rolling down below me, and I was sliding down it. I wasn't in the golf cart as it rolled down, but the golf cart rolled down, and I fell out like, if here's the okay, pretend like here's the canal, and I'm right here. I'm in the golf cart, here's me. It fell, and I like fell out like that. So I'm up above it, and I slide down. And I just remember, and then boom, I'm laying there. It takes me a few seconds to realize what happened. I'm like, what just happened? And then, fuck. There's no way I'm getting that golf cart out. Like, there's steep fucking walls. I'm not driving it. I can't push it out. It's a huge golf cart. And I'm like all scratched up, and like the golf cart's on its side in the snowy, dark canal. Like, this is a canal that goes for miles. Like 10, 20, 30 miles, like, through the fucking city. Like, it's a huge, dark canal in the middle of the country. All I can see is the stars above me and darkness for, like, miles, like, and it turns a little bit. And I remember just going, like, fuck, like, how did I not feel that? Like, I was so drunk that I didn't feel any of my, like, elbows hit the side or anything. I just felt like I could just see it happening. And then suddenly I'm like, ugh, and then I look, fuck, the dog comes up to me like, it's okay, I'm okay. But the golf cart's on its side, like up on some weird, like, brick that was in there. And then it gets even crazier from here on out. Like, this is just the first crazy part. Like, I'm so lucky I didn't fall under the golf cart or something. And I'm lucky I was drunk, so I didn't feel it happen. But what happens is I push the golf cart up, and I'm thinking, like, I wasn't really thinking anything because no one else would have done this. Most people would have called, like, their grandparents, like, hey, I just crashed your golf cart into, like, a deep-ass canal. You should probably come get me. But I was like, no, this is a great opportunity to ride the golf cart in the canal. Just get more into the countryside, like fucking street racer. So I flip up the golf cart, the dog gets back on it, and I just start driving down the canal. Like, more into the country, just like a street racer, and I'm hitting puddles of water that are splashing up. I'm going under bridges, and just like, and I remember that the freaky part was I didn't realize how far out I was going. I was just going for like 10 or 20 minutes farther out into the country on the golf cart, just like, I don't give a fuck, which was stupid. And I remember I went under 2 underpasses before I had to get out, and when I found out on the map, it is like a good mile or two. So I'm on the golf cart driving through there like golf cart, driving underneath bridges, going crazy. And what happens is I finally like give up. Like I've gone over enough turns. I tried going up the wall a little bit. I sit in enough puddles. I felt enough speed racer in my heart that I could get out of the cart. So I got out next to a ladder because I found a ladder, and I left the cart right there, just upright in the middle of a canal. And I think it finally hit me that I didn't know where I was. Like I was way out in the country. Like I didn't know where I was. Like this is out on the dark line. So what happened was the dog couldn't get up on its own. So I had to put the dog like, and this isn't the dog that you can pick up and carry. Like you could, but you don't want to. So I had to kind of like nudge it up in front of me under the stairs and push it by its butt as I'm like climbing up the stairs with one hand, or the ladder with one arm. And I'm like, finally we get up. And I'm also like, thank you, dog, for being on this journey with me. I'm glad I didn't kill you in that fucking canal accident. And hopefully that you will lead me home or something. Because I needed someone with me or I would have been fucked. Like that dog kind of helped me get back. So what happens is we finally climb out and I realize like, wow, I'm miles out here. I don't know where I am. It's in the winter. I'm not wearing pants or socks or a shirt. I'm just wearing a hoodie, the Jordan shorts, and fucking grandma slippers. And I'm out and trudging in snow. So the sensible thing to do at this point would be to follow the canal back to where you fell in and then walk back. But I wasn't thinking, so instead of follow the canal, I went off in another direction, kind of where I thought was the direction of my grandparents' house. So at this point, I'm walking through fucking fields of cheatgrass until I reach a barbed wire fence in the dark. And I have to climb over that and the dog can just get through it. And now I'm walking through someone's like field. And this is out in the country of Washington. Like, what I didn't realize that if someone could have seen me on their property, they could shoot me legally, like, because I'm on their property. So I was just running through people's properties in the middle of the night on, like, in the snow, like, drunk. Like, this isn't like your normal neighborhood. Like, these are, like, spread out houses by miles, like, of farms and shit. So I was going back in what I thought was the general direction of my house, like, or my grandparents' house. Like, I was flying the light of the city to kind of get me back. And what happens next is crazy. Like, I remember I'm walking and I'm realizing, wow, the field I'm in is really, really big right now. And I'm kind of like just lost. So it gets dark all around me, and then I'm walking, and suddenly I come up on like cows, and I'm like I hope that shit isn't like bulls or anything, and like I'm just like tempted to touch them, but even in my drunken state, I didn't go towards them. So I start kind of walking fast and running, like, cause like I didn't want to like startle the cows and start a stampede. So like I could feel the derriere. So I was walking, and I reached another fence, and what happened was I was drunk. And I grabbed it, and it was an electric fence, and it went, and I took my hands off, and I barely felt it. Like, if I could hear it in my ears, like a zzz kind of sound, like I could hear it, and I could feel tingles, but I didn't feel it. So what I did, like, no one would do this. I was looking at it, and I was like, I touched it again, zzz, and I was like, this is weird. Like, does this fence not work? And I touched it again, zzz, and I kept touching the fence. Like, I was having fun just grabbing it, feeling like, wow, I'm numb the fuck out right now. So I climb over that fence, getting shocked as I climb over. And I keep walking. So this happens for I don't know how long. I have like a blurry spot of walking through the countryside. Finally, I reach this like mobile home like neighborhood. It's like still out in the country, still not familiar to me where I'm at. It's this weird mobile home neighborhood. There's no fences, there's no anything. It's just rows of them out up in the fucking hills, like with nothing around it, and this big water tower in the middle of it. So I remember my first thing I did was like, I was like, I'm on a fucking adventure tonight, like, fucking like, fuck everything. So I just climbed up the water tower and was just sitting on the top, like in the meditative stance, just looking, trying to like kind of see, where the fuck did I go? What am I doing? Where is my house? Who the fuck am I? What is life? And hopefully I don't fall off this right now, but it's kind of tempting to just do a front flip off it, even though I probably would have broke all my bones in my body. So I get off, and then what I start doing is what any drunk kid might do, is I started going through people's cars stupidly. I was just like opening the doors and looking for things like valuable, like, and what happened is at one point I went into someone's car and I was in there and I didn't realize it, but I dropped my phone out of my pocket while I was in there and I would just fell asleep. And I remember waking up in this car and it's kind of like you can barely see like the beginnings of the sun starting to come up, and I'm like, I need to get back, but I don't know where I am. So I'm in the car. And this is probably the craziest part of the story, even though I fell into the fucking crazy-ass canal in the golf cart with the dog on the golf cart. The dog's still with me outside the car because I had the door kind of open. And what happens next is wild. Let me get my computer right so I can show you where I go. I'm in the car. My phone somehow fell out of that car. Or, I apologize. My phone fell out of that car. And then I woke up. I was about to say something. And then I went to another car, and it was a truck or something. And I fucking got in the truck, and I opened up the middle box, and I found this, like, weird-looking pen thing. Like, this pen, like, canister-looking thing. And it was orange. And what I realized it was, when I looked at it, it was EpiPen, which is, like, a adrenaline shot, apparently. That you have to go like that. And I remember I was just, like, so drunk that I was just, like, what is this? Like, I was reading the direction, trying to figure it out, and I was like, you just gotta, like, stab it into your leg. Like, I was like, that's not even gonna, like, do anything to me because I just was pressing the shocking fence and I didn't feel anything. So I was like, fuck it. And I undid the thing, it was just like, boom! And I stabbed it into my leg, and I remember, like, my leg kind of, like, jumped a little bit. And then after I took it out, I was sitting there just kind of waiting. And then within, like, 30 seconds, I shit you not, I went from, like, super drunk and, like, just, like, not caring to, like, disturbingly sober, like, shockingly sober, like, soberingly sober. It was, like, oh, no, like, what? Like, it was too sober. Like, suddenly I felt, like, tingles, but not in a good way, and just, like, this feeling, like, I need to get out, I need to go, I need to run, I need to live, I need to get out, I need to go, I need to run, I need to live, I need to run! And I just, boom, opened the door and was just, like, breathing fast, like, oh, shit, like, what did I just do? Like, it wasn't, like, an enjoyable, like, stimulant, like, oh, yeah, let's go do adrenaline. It was, like, fuck. And I was just, like, fucking running, like, past the mobile homes, and I was just, like, oh, shit, like, I didn't realize my phone or anything. The dog was running with me, and I just remember seeing a bike and just, like, running, and, like, when I seen it, I just ran to it, grabbed it, got on it, and started biking, and the dog's running behind me, and then it starts running ahead of me, and I'm like, lead me home, Milo! So we're just driving, I'm just, like, biking down the road that was closest to, that bike, as the sun starts coming up and up and up. And somewhere down the road, the feeling of intense, like, doom, impending doom kind of went away, and I was just more, like, awake and, like, alert, and I felt like I could breathe again, because I was like, so finally I felt good. But at this point, the sun's coming up, and I'm starting to realize, fuck, I need to get back, because my grandparents are going to wake up, and I'm going to be gone, and their golf cart's going to be gone, and they're going to be like, what the fuck happened to you? Like, they expect the golf cart to be down the road. No, it's in a canal miles away, Grandpa. Like, they were like, when we had to go pick it up later, like, they were like, how far did you go? Like, were you running the marathon? Like, so I was going down the street in the biking, and then I was biking like a Viking, and then, I finally hit the side street that leads back to my grandparents' house. So I turned, went down that, I dropped the bike somewhere down the street, because I didn't want them to see I stole it. And finally the sun's coming up, like, it is up, like, it's starting to be morning, and it's bright out, and I'm just like, my fucking, like, hoodie, no fucking pants, like, in the snow, just, like, not realizing that I almost contracted, like, hypothermia, because, like, my hands were, like, I could barely move them, like, so finally I'm with the dog, and I finally walk in the back door to go to bed, and I shit you not, the minute I walk in and close the door, the second I walk in and close the door opens from upstairs, and they're coming down to, like, say good morning. So I'm like, and I lay down in bed and act like I'm asleep, and they try to wake me up, and I just act like I'm asleep because I was drunk. So then I really do fall asleep, and then I get woken up by this, like, Connor, and, like, someone's, like, tapping on me, and I'm like, what is it? It's like my grandpa, and he's like, where's the golf cart? And I was like, I don't know, like, trying to play like someone stole it, but they knew that wasn't the truth, and I was like, someone must have stole it, like, you know, like, because that's what, like, I do, like, I was lying, I was making an excuse at first. Then I went back to bed, and finally I woke up, and I was like, they're like, are you ready to tell us where it is? And I said, yeah, I'm ready, like, hi, it was me, I'm sorry, it's in the canal. And my grandpa was like, what the fuck? But my grandpa's old, like, he's not freaking out on me. So him and this, like, guy who used to be a cop, apparently, because it lives close to him, it's like an ex-cop. So he's not a total fuckface. We all went to pick, like, up the golf cart, and I remember we were looking for it in the canal, driving along the canal, and we were going, and in my sober state, I was like, how did I come this far, like, miles out into the country, this fucking far? Like, was I crazy? Like, I must have been going for 20 minutes, like, must have been like a go-go drummer in my head, like, go down the canal right now. Keep going, don't stop. You're drunk, don't give a fuck. And I was just going forever. So we finally, after driving for like 5 minutes in the truck, reach it way out there. And we have to tie it to this thing and like pull it up this steep ass wall while 2 people are behind it trying to like guide it and push it. So we got that, and we got that back to the house. I remember the cop trying to give me this life lesson, telling me like, you know, like, you are your word, and like people can't trust you if you do this and that, and blah blah blah. And I really didn't hear a lot about that. Like, I don't remember what he told me. I'm sure it was awesome, whatever. I guess I learned not to operate any type of machinery when I'm drunk, and not to wander through the countryside in the middle of the dark and grab electrical fences and inject yourself with adrenaline. I mean, the whole thing ended with like me like having to tell the whole story to my parents, who like they thought I was crazy after that. They're like, what the fuck? Like, they always talk about the golf cart incident. Like, do you remember the golf cart incident? You almost died falling in the canal. I was like, no, I didn't. I had a great time. I never felt so alive. But yeah, don't do anything in that story. Don't drive golf carts drunk at night, and if you're under 21, and on other people's property or down canals. Like, that's a bad idea. I remember my grandma saying something about if the water had been going, I would have been fucked. I would have fell in, drowned, or got pulled under when it goes under. And the dog would have been fucked too. So that's the part that made me feel bad. So now on here I have my story laid out for you. One last thing I gotta add that I didn't mention earlier today before I show you on the map is that finally, after we got the golf cart and everything, I finally realized that my phone is missing. So I call it, because I kind of remember I missed it, and someone picks it up, because whoever owned the car that I went into that night, they found my phone. So they're like, what the fuck were you doing in my car? You can come pick up your phone, but we need to talk about what you're doing in my car, blah, 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 blah. So I had to go out and like meet these people hungover and explain to them that I was sleeping in their car drunk the night before. So that's what happened. They gave me my phone back, luckily, but I had to explain to them that I was drinking and sleeping in their car. So that was really awkward. Anyways, here's your fucking map. Exactly where it happened. Even the street view most likely will be laid out. So I'm gonna go to where the adventure begins. Now you can kind of see everything right here. The adventure begins. That was the road I drove down to the canal. Fall in, drive, and then over here it's climb out, countryside, the climb taller, the EpiPen, the still the bike, then back to the adventure begins. To give you an idea of how far this is, we're going to do some street view for a second. So you can see how far I actually had to go. So this is the actual street. So I came out of my grandparents' house, and I started going down the street. Now I don't know how to actually get to the next slot. Okay, there. I got to press the forward button or something. There we go. So this is the street. This probably was about the speed I was going. It's a golf cart. Now this is going to give you an idea how long I went, when you see how long it takes just to get down this street. So stick with me. So this was in the very beginning of the street I was driving down. And as you can see, it's out in the country for fuck's sure. So if I could go faster down this, I would. But you got to imagine if you were in the golf cart just driving down this. There should be like a little loading sign or something, but I don't want this video to last forever, but I need to show you how far I actually went, because it's very far. God, fucking go faster. There should be a way to go faster. I'm gonna click. Yeah, I'm gonna click ahead. Here we go. So I'm going down the road, 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 going down the road. You get it. It's a road. I'm going down it, and then finally, I'll show you where it ends when this street view fucking loads. Getting all glitchy. So basically, what happens is this road hits a main road, but instead of turn onto the main road, I like kept going down this dirt path thing. that you're not going to be able to see in Street View, but you're going to get an idea of how far I went when you see how, like, this road doesn't look very long from the sky because it's Google Earth. Like, nothing looks like the right size from way up there. But if it's taking me this long to get down the road, going at speeds faster than the golf cart, because you could tell right now going this fast is way faster than a golf cart will go. So it took me a good 10 minutes to get down the very first road, which was just barely part of the, like, beginning of the race. Like, the part where I drove in the canal was so fucking far that it would scare you. So it's right here that I hit that, which is that road that goes off more into the country. So what you'll see is that road that I came down, when I exit Street View and try to, oh shit, better not have lost it. So that road that I went down, the very first road that you see me go down, looks only about that long on the map. So if it's only that long, if that's where I fell in and that's where I got out way down there, as you can see, it's like twice as long as that, like way far in the thing. So it starts there. I'm gonna go down a little bit closer. I go down that road, go down that road, go down that road. I hit this little gravel road going down someone's property, and I take the golf cart down this. So I'm going down it, off into this field, and I keep driving in the field. Then I turn right here, keep driving in the field, and then that's when I hit the canal right here, and then I stop and I start driving down the canal. So I should zoom out a little bit. It's kind of close. So I start driving down this canal along it, and somewhere when the canal turns, like it takes a turn, somehow I'm assuming you can see how far this is. I'm trying to find somewhere along here when it was turning, I kept going straight, and somewhere along there I fell in. And you can see right now it's filled with water, but when I fell in it wasn't, and it's a fucking huge canal. Like, those are the sides of like big ass trees and shit. Like, that's the canal. It's big as fuck. I need to take a picture of it next time I go down there. So that's where I fall in. So then that's when I start golf cart. So I'm driving. Oh, fuck you, Google. Driving. The way I remember how far I went is that I went under 2 underpasses. So I'm going around turns, going up walls, going for what was excessively far, now that I think about it. Excessively! And then somewhere up here, there's the first underpass. Keep going. You can see how far I'm actually going by this Google Earth, because I'm going like far, like I'm going fast as fuck right now, and I'm still not out. There's the second underpass, and somewhere when it started turning, there's a ladder somewhere along here. I climbed out. So when I climbed out, you would expect that I would go back along the thing to where I fell in, which is way back over here. But no, I climb out and I just start heading directly into this field to try to get back to where my grandparents are. So I go through the field and through the things, and this is where I get shocked somewhere in here, and find the cows somewhere in here. And that's when I find this little fuckface city. It's this little like mobile home park city thing, and you could see, it's hard to see because it's little, but there's the water tower that I climbed on. And then somewhere in these houses is where I found the EpiPen and did the fucking EpiPen, and that's when I got out and started fucking running. And like, I went through so many cars and fell asleep in one car, and then somewhere in that neighborhood, I can't remember where, I stole this bike that I saw. It was like a shitty kid's bike. Probably stole a kid's Christmas fucking present. I'm sorry, random kid. And then I got back on the road and just like hit this road, which is that main road that's connected to the road I was talking about, which you'll see right now. So once I got back on that main road, I went a mile down to here, and I could recognize where I was finally when I got back in this area. So then I hit that same intersection on a bike later at 7 a.m. That was the same one that I just went down at 3 a.m. on a golf cart drunk and gone off down to the canal that is right there. So when I hit that, I finally turned around, finally went back up the street to my grandparents' house, which is one of these houses right next to this little thing, but I'm not going to show you the exact house. So it was one in the area, and I went back down and went back to my grandparents' house, which is where I got caught. So the whole thing, if you could see that first road Like, took me forever to go down. You could see that first road is that long right there to there. If I zoom out, it'll give you an idea finally, like, how big the whole ordeal was. If that's that first road, just that little part that took me like 5 minutes to show you guys how long it was, because it is actually farther than it looks, then that's where I fell in, like, or if it got out, like, that's where I fell in. So where I fell in is like huge distance. Where I fell out is a huge distance. Where I walked through the fields, it's all miles. Like, I was walking miles at night. Like, it took hours. So the whole thing happened in this big chunk of the fucking country of Moxie, which is the countryside of that little town called Yakima. So Yakima is down here. I don't see the sign there. Yakima. If that's all of Yakima, which is a huge city, you can imagine that distance of where I fucking climbed out and had to walk back to is actually very, very far. It doesn't look far from the sky, but we're talking miles, like, of distances. So the whole time it was pitch dark. I was out in the country. At times, like when I got on the water tower, I had a great view of the Yakima city, like all the lights at night. So yeah, that's the that's the drunk adventure that I had when I was a senior, I think. It was one of the craziest drunk adventures that I ever had. Like, I used to run through people's backyards with my friends drunk and go on, like, adventures, like, through, like, town, like, or through, like, different people's properties, but I never was alone with a dog out in the countryside. So that was the first. And that they still have that dog, I think. But it was crazy. That dog came with me the whole way and lived to not tell the tale. Thank you for watching. That's my story. It's all true. All of it. Down to every last little detail about where I fell out and what happened. Can't really think of anything else that happened. That's the best I could tell it. I'm telling this one as eccentrically as I can because it's a good story we're telling. I have a trip story that I'm thinking about doing soon, but this one deserves like a guest or like a lot of thought because I need to remember my thought processes during it. I need to remember everything that happened because it was one of the craziest trips I've ever been on. It was on 2CT7, and it was a big dose and like it was very spiritual. Like, out of all the 2Cs, the 2CI, 2CE, 2CB, all of those, 2CT7 like was the best one for me out of all of them. But anyways, yeah, that should be soon. Then I want to do a bunch of informational videos about shrooms and then start getting down on some music pretty soon. So stick with me. Hope you enjoyed this drunk adventure.